The Amazon rainforest, the largest tropical rainforest in the world, spans over 5.5 million square kilometers across 9 countries in South America, with the majority lying in Brazil. Often referred to as the lungs of the earth, the Amazon plays an irreplaceable role in regulating global climate by absorbing vast amounts of carbon dioxide and producing oxygen through photosynthesis. Covering an area larger than the continental United States, this vibrant ecosystem is home to unparalleled biodiversity, housing an estimated 10% of all known species on Earth, from the elusive jaguar to ancient plant species and undiscovered microorganisms. However, this ecological powerhouse faces an accelerating crisis. Over the last 50 years, deforestation, agricultural expansion, and deliberate burning have claimed more than 17% of the Amazon. To put this into perspective, this loss is equivalent to an area roughly the size of France. The scale of destruction is unprecedented, with satellite data revealing thousands of fires ravaging the region annually, especially during the dry season from July to October. Fires in the Amazon are often intentionally ignited to clear land, but under dry conditions exacerbated by climate change, they frequently spiral out of control, spreading across vast distances. The significance of these fires extends far beyond South America. The Amazon's carbon storage capacity is critical for mitigating climate change. As trees burn, they release the carbon stored in their trunks, branches, and leaves into the atmosphere, contributing to global greenhouse gas levels. In recent years, some areas of the Amazon have even become carbon emitters rather than carbon sinks, a stark warning about the forest's declining health. Despite the devastating consequences, the drivers behind these fires persist. The expansion of soybean farming, cattle ranching, and illegal logging are among the main culprits. In particular, the global demand for beef and soy has incentivized large-scale deforestation, with vast swathes of rainforest converted into farmland and pasture. This industrial-scale activity not only threatens wildlife, but also disrupts the hydrological cycle, leading to less rainfall and increased vulnerability to droughts. As of 2024, the situation is exacerbated by the alarming rate at which deforestation enables fires to encroach into previously untouched areas. These fires not only destroy trees, but also impact the soil, making it harder for new growth to take root. This has set off a domino effect, further weakening the Amazon's ability to regenerate and increasing the likelihood of a catastrophic tipping point where large portions of the forest could transform into a savanna-like landscape. In the following parts, we will explore the human activities driving these fires, their far-reaching consequences on local communities and indigenous populations, and the efforts being made to curb this ecological disaster. The wildfires consuming the Amazon rainforest are not a natural phenomenon. Unlike many forest ecosystems that rely on periodic natural fires for regeneration, the Amazon is not adapted to burning and owes much of its current crisis to human activities. Fires are deliberately set in most cases, driven by agricultural expansion, illegal logging, and the rising global demand for natural resources. Farmers and ranchers often use slash and burn methods to clear land for crops and grazing. This practice, while efficient for rapid land clearing, has devastating consequences for the Amazon. During the dry season, which typically spans from July to October, these fires frequently escape their intended boundaries and spread into surrounding forest areas. In particularly dry years, exacerbated by climate change, these controlled burns can rapidly ignite massive wildfires, engulfing large sections of the forest. Illegal logging operations further compound the problem. After trees are felled and removed, the leftover debris, such as branches and leaves, is left to dry and becomes highly flammable fuel for fires. Logging roads also create pathways into previously inaccessible areas of the forest, enabling more widespread deforestation and the expansion of slash and burn practices. Satellite imagery from organizations like INPE, Brazil's National Institute for Space Research, reveals how these human-made scars on the landscape facilitate fire outbreaks. The expansion of industrial-scale agriculture is another significant contributor. Brazil is the world's largest exporter of soybeans and beef, and the demand for farmland to produce these commodities has surged in recent decades. The Cerrado region, which borders the Amazon, has already seen extensive conversion into agricultural land, but pressure is increasingly shifting toward the rainforest itself. In particular, soy plantations and cattle pastures have driven massive deforestation, with an estimated 2/3 of all deforested areas now used for livestock grazing. Adding to the crisis is the complex interplay of political and economic factors. Enforcement of environmental regulations has weakened over time, with insufficient resources allocated to monitoring and penalizing illegal activities. Meanwhile, certain political agendas have favored short-term economic growth over environmental sustainability, prioritizing agricultural exports and land development at the expense of forest conservation. Reports from 2024 indicate a troubling increase in deforestation-related activities, with weakened oversight emboldening illegal loggers and land speculators. The economic reliance on these destructive practices creates a vicious cycle. For many farmers and loggers, these activities are seen as a necessity for survival in a challenging economic climate. Government incentives and subsidies for agriculture can inadvertently encourage further deforestation, as small-scale farmers clear forested land to qualify for property rights or financial benefits. The fires also pose significant risks to nearby communities. Smoke from the burning forest releases fine particulate matter into the atmosphere, leading to severe air quality issues and health problems for residents. In 2019, fires were so widespread that the city of São Paulo, located thousands of kilometers away, experienced daytime darkness due to thick smoke covering the sky. This serves as a grim reminder of how interconnected the Amazon is with the broader region and the planet. As we continue, we will delve into the far-reaching environmental consequences of these fires, examining their impact on biodiversity, indigenous communities, and the global climate. The Amazon rainforest, one of the most biodiverse ecosystems on Earth, is facing unprecedented environmental damage from the fires. These fires are not just destroying trees. They are threatening the delicate balance of a unique habitat that supports millions of species of plants, animals, and microorganisms, many of which are found nowhere else on Earth. With every hectare lost to fire, countless species lose their homes and food sources. The Amazon is home to an estimated 10% of all known species, including iconic creatures like jaguars, harpy eagles, and pink river dolphins. Many of these species are already endangered due to habitat destruction and fragmentation. The fires exacerbate this problem, often burning areas critical to their survival, such as nesting sites and feeding grounds. Insects, which play crucial roles in pollination and nutrient cycling, are particularly vulnerable. As fires sweep through the forest floor, they destroy the microhabitats these creatures rely on. Similarly, amphibians, which are highly sensitive to environmental changes, suffer catastrophic losses during fires. The ripple effect of these losses disrupts the food chain, impacting predators and other interconnected species. The Amazon rainforest is a vital carbon sink, absorbing billions of tons of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere annually. This process helps mitigate the effects of global warming. However, when trees burn, they release stored carbon back into the atmosphere. In 2019, the Amazon fires emitted an estimated 500 million metric tons of carbon dioxide, a stark reminder of how these events accelerate climate change. The destruction of the Amazon also compromises its ability to regulate local and global weather patterns. The forest generates massive amounts of water vapor, which contributes to regional rainfall and influences weather systems as far away as the United States and Europe. With reduced forest cover, this natural cycle is disrupted, leading to drier conditions in the Amazon basin and beyond. The fires also have a devastating impact on the soil. The nutrient-rich topsoil in the Amazon is highly dependent on the organic matter provided by the forest itself. When fires burn this organic layer, the soil becomes less fertile, making it harder for the forest to recover. This degradation also increases the likelihood of desertification, particularly in areas already affected by deforestation and agricultural activity. Furthermore, the loss of tree cover exposes the soil to direct sunlight and rainfall, leading to erosion and the washing away of nutrients. Over time, this can transform once thriving forest land into barren wasteland, unsuitable for either agriculture or reforestation efforts. The fires do not only affect flora and fauna, they also devastate indigenous communities who have lived in harmony with the forest for centuries. These communities depend on the Amazon for their food, shelter, and cultural identity. As fires encroach on their territories, they lose not only their homes, but also sacred sites and traditional knowledge tied to the land. The situation is compounded by the encroachment of outsiders, loggers, miners, and ranchers, who take advantage of the chaos caused by the fires. In some cases, indigenous groups are forced to abandon their lands entirely, further threatening their way of life and eroding the cultural diversity that is an integral part of the Amazon's heritage. The environmental impact of the Amazon fires extends far beyond South America. The loss of carbon sequestration capacity accelerates climate change, while the release of fine particulate matter into the atmosphere affects air quality on a global scale. The fires also contribute to the loss of genetic resources that could hold the key to future medical breakthroughs, agricultural improvements, and other scientific advancements. Next, we will examine the international response to the Amazon fires, the role of conservation efforts, and what steps must be taken to preserve this vital ecosystem for future generations. As the Amazon rainforest faces its most critical challenges, the international community has started to respond with increasing urgency. Governments, environmental organizations, and activists worldwide are working to address the devastation caused by fires, deforestation, and climate change. This final section examines these efforts and the path forward for protecting one of Earth's most vital ecosystems. Global awareness of the Amazon's plight surged in 2019 when the fires reached a catastrophic scale, prompting international outcry. Since then, many countries have offered financial and technical assistance to Brazil and other Amazonian nations to combat deforestation and illegal activities. Programs like the Amazon Fund, initially spearheaded by Norway and Germany, have allocated millions of dollars to conservation projects. However, these funds are often mired in political controversies, with critics questioning their allocation and effectiveness. The European Union and the United Nations have also been vocal in their support for preserving the Amazon, emphasizing the region's role in combating climate change. The 2021 Glasgow Climate Pact included commitments from multiple nations to curb deforestation by 2030. While these pledges signal progress, the actual implementation and enforcement of such measures remain critical challenges. Indigenous groups, local communities, and environmental activists have been at the forefront of efforts to protect the Amazon. Organizations like Greenpeace and the World Wildlife Fund (WWF) work alongside Indigenous leaders to monitor illegal activities, reforest degraded areas, and advocate for stricter environmental policies. Activists like the Brazilian Indigenous leader Sonia Guajajara have brought international attention to the Amazon's plight, highlighting the struggles faced by Indigenous peoples and the importance of their stewardship. Grassroots campaigns, including global social media movements, have also galvanized public support, putting pressure on corporations and governments to adopt more sustainable practices. Advancements in technology are playing a pivotal role in the fight to save the Amazon. Satellite imaging and remote sensing are now being used to monitor deforestation and detect illegal logging in real time. Organizations like Global Forest Watch provide accessible data that allows governments and conservationists to respond more effectively to emerging threats. In addition, research into forest regeneration is uncovering new methods for restoring damaged areas. Agroforestry, a practice that combines agriculture with tree planting, offers a promising solution for sustainable land use. Scientists are also studying how natural processes such as seed dispersal by animals can be leveraged to accelerate reforestation efforts. Despite these efforts, significant hurdles remain. Weak enforcement of environmental laws, corruption, and economic pressures continue to undermine conservation initiatives. In some cases, political leaders have prioritized short-term economic gains over long-term environmental sustainability, granting permits for mining and agriculture in protected areas. The impact of climate change further complicates these efforts. Rising temperatures, prolonged droughts, and erratic rainfall patterns are pushing the Amazon closer to a tipping point, beyond which large portions of the forest could transform into savanna. This shift would have catastrophic consequences, including the release of vast amounts of stored carbon and the loss of irreplaceable biodiversity. The future of the Amazon rainforest depends on a concerted, sustained effort from individuals, governments, and organizations worldwide. Education and awareness are crucial, as understanding the importance of the Amazon can drive public support for conservation policies. Reducing the global demand for commodities like beef, soy, and timber, often linked to deforestation, can also lessen the economic incentives for destructive practices. Reforestation projects and the protection of remaining forest areas are essential steps in reversing the damage. Supporting Indigenous rights and empowering local communities to manage their lands can further strengthen these efforts, as these groups have a proven track record of sustainable stewardship. The Amazon rainforest is at a crossroads. Its survival is not just a regional issue, but a global one, affecting the climate, biodiversity, and future of life on Earth. By acting collectively and decisively, there is still hope to preserve this vital ecosystem for generations to come.